In today's episode, we start looking at some custom interchanges. We replace this old roundabout and put a nice new three-way intersection. So yeah, let's see how we do it. Stay tuned. Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. This is Prospect Valley and this is our new higher density inner city area. Eventually, we probably will sink the rail through here at a major project somewhere in the future. For now, and as small cities typically have, a lot of at-grade rail crossings, level crossings as they're called in some parts of the world, and we'll continue to have that for the time being. We've got a little bit of traffic every now and again, but I think it works fairly well. It looks realistic to me. One of the key things that I want to do in this episode is I've had a few of these guys latch out over here. And what we will probably start to do is fill in some of these areas. But I thought rejigging this intersection to actually allow a proper big road, like similar to this one, which is like a boulevard style road in here, to be a key arterial to feed towards this area. It'll also act as a little bit of a bypass towards using the hydro road at the top here to get to the other side of the map. So we'll see how that works. I don't want to mess around with the forests here too much. I'm going to try and keep that intact for the most part, but what we'll do is we'll try and hug that over here, maybe get a few of them moved here, and then we'll tie in the industrial area on that side as well, so we've got a better connectivity for the industrial to get out that way. Also, we can see we've got continued demand. Let's quickly have a look at what we have available. So all of our zoned areas has kind of been filled in. For the time being, we could potentially fill this in a little bit more. This road has pretty much has usage all on it. So let's see about filling in a little bit more of these over here. Probably not all the way to the intersection, but yeah, this section over here I think can be filled in quite nicely. So we'll get that filled in. I'll go ahead and fill in some of those. Just so we get a little bit more residential properties in place. This area, for now, I'm going to leave that be. I don't know what the ultimate view of this road is going to be. We'll have to see how, as the town progresses, as the traffic gets moved, we may have to redo some stuff on this road, as you would expect in any kind of real city. What I've done in between episodes is I've added some parking over here. So our inner city area here has now got some parking, off-street parking available for like the commercial facilities, and we have a few office buildings zoned here, but though we don't have any industrial demand just yet. There is undersupply of availability for students, and we've got our academic year going along, and we're still unrecognized over here, and it's costing us a fair bit of money. Our student capacity is 160 from 950. So it's interesting that we don't seeing a lot of people actually make use of that. So maybe another bus route or two to carry people to the university is on the cards for this episode as well. Okay, so let's get it going straight into our little boulevard that we're intending on doing. And I think let's just widen that up a little bit so we have a quick look. Eventually, we might want to do some overpasses on this section, but for the time being, I think we're just going to remain with the basics, the 4-lane road like so. Now, what I'm thinking is that we probably want to do it somewhere over here, and that we try and straighten that up as much as possible. So if we do something like that, and then we'll kind of run it over this way and cross it over that way. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. I do think I'm going to rejig that, but now for the time being, what I do want to do is let's get a little bit straight section through there. We're going to try and maintain straight connections through there as much as possible. 90 degree is really what we're after. Now, what I would like to do is potentially tie in somewhere over here, so it doesn't actually just run straight in there. But maybe we tie in somewhere over there. So let's go about doing that. And at the same time, I'm thinking, well, this one, let's run this one as a pretty straight 90-degree section like that. That'll be fairly interesting if we run it like that. But what I'm thinking of doing, I haven't really used this tool much. Oh, is there new stuff here? Create connection mode, create curve mode, create parallel mode. My goodness, there's all kinds of new stuff in here. We'll have to play around with that a little bit. Invert segment. Anyway. So let's just create a connection mode. Select the first segment and select this one. And that's not what I'm after. Can we flip it around and flip it around over there? Oh yeah. Now, how do I can't remember how I double click to. How do I can't remember. What is the tool that I needed to do? Drag to move the circle. Ooh. I don't necessarily want to move the circle. What I want to do is I want to scroll the circle. To change the curve direction, double click on the circle. Here we go. This is what I'm after. To change, press the minus or the equal sign to change both radii. I think that's what I'm after. So let's see. Oh, yes. That is, in fact, what I'm after. Yes, I'm going to do a bit of a natural big curve like that. That looks pretty cool. Then to switch the selected circle and some block brackets to change one radius. And what was that? Extend shift. Oh, to do it by 10. To do all of them by 10. Press enter to create a connection. I think that's fine. I think that's the one that we're after. And that's going to be a pretty natural one. So let's press enter and we create that connection. There we go. We see that we've gone to ground a little bit over here. I'm not too opposed to that. That looks pretty nice. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty good connection right over there with some natural straight sections, S-bends and stuff. We've got a little bit of a room if we wanted to flare out at the intersections. So that is awesome. Okay, now coming back to this one over here. And I've been back and forth about this. I honestly don't like our roundabout over here. So I think what I'm going to do, what is going on with that now? I'm going to rejig this to be a signalized intersection, but something a little bit more aggressive, shall we say, something that can have a bit more capacity over here. So we'll do a higher capacity intersection over here. I'm trying to get some of these vehicles out of the way, but we're probably going to have a consistent flow of vehicles coming into this. So we may not be able to accommodate all of them. So let's just pause the game. Let's get rid of this guy. I'm going to trim back over there. We're going to get rid of this guy. Over here, over there, we'll get rid of all of those and we'll probably trim back that one a little bit more. Now, let's trim this one just a tad more like so. And what I'm going to do, let's switch this thing off. I'm going to split it into two different lanes, basically. And maybe what we need to do is do two one-ways. And maybe this is a shot for us to start looking at a parallel tool. So let's just select our standard 2-lane highway, like so. We'll switch this guy on and we'll say, well, what we're after is creating a bit of a parallel tool. Select the node to add it to order. Well, select to add it to order. Hold shift for underground mode. So if I do that, okay, fine. So we have to do that after the fact. So let's not do that now. Let's get out of this one and let's build ourselves a little bit of section here with the 2 lanes. So if we go up here, probably just that. Now let's try that. So if I go to the UI, we'll say let's grab this tool. Let's say, there we go. There we go. That's okay. Then press Control plus space to to what? Press Control plus space to selection step over. Control plus space. That's a little weird. Click to unselect node. Here we go. Now we can see. So now changing the offset. I love this tool actually. I just need to get used to it a little bit. So change the offset, change the height. Oh man, that is awesome. I think that offset's okay. Maybe what we'll do is let's offset it to about 20 meters. Wow, I love it. I love it. It's really good. Enter to create parallel, control tab to invert the network, tab to switch creation site. Okay, yeah. And control tab to invert the network. Control tab. Don't know what that was. Maybe tab is also doing some other stuff. But let's enter it and let's get it built. Now, let's get out of that tool. I'm not too sure which direction is which direction here for the time being. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to remove this and we will close this off and give me just the one lane for the time being. That's the one two-way. Yeah, I just want the one lane piece. But so it's just going to be the one lane highway ramp with sound barriers. So it's just going to be this guy basically, or this is a one lane, one way highway with shoulder. Let's do that. Let's see how that actually works. So I'm going to do one over there and we'll do one over here. And that means we're going to also need to just use mover to just get this a little bit more straightened up. Like so. We'll do that for the time being. We may tweak this a little bit that way. So that's straightened up a little bit. And then what we'll do is we'll just move these out a little bit this way to see how that works. And I kind of like what we're doing there. We'll also need to do the node controller just to make sure we're going to create a good environment here. This thing did, in fact, it is running the right directions actually. So that's pretty cool. We might have to clean that up a little bit. So under UI, let's go to the node controller over here. And let's see, can we... Okay, that's quite interesting. If we do the direct... that's what we're after. That is what we're after. If we straighten those up, it means that we can do some other line markings in the area to make it work a little bit better. But we could potentially bring this in a little bit and then we straighten it up. But yeah, it's going to remain that one. What we could do is we can bring the red one a little closer. Yeah, something like that should be about right. So let's just make sure we'll slope it as well. It's good to slope these things a little bit. Okay, now we can close this one off. And I would just like to make sure that we're in fact tying these together with the lane connectors. So let's just make sure that we're not getting any U-turns or funny business going on over there. There we go. And on that side also. So now we're effectively splitting it off over there. And then it kind of widens into two lanes over here. Whether that is really required, I don't know. We may have to re-look at that at some point, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly fill in a little bit of line marking over here because this looks really plain. So the first one I'm after is actually, this is going to be a solid line. So shift for solid. Similarly, this one will be shift for solid over there. So that double looks quite nice into that. And we'll do with the shift for solid over here as well. And we'll do shift for solid in that one. So now that looks way more appropriate. It splits it off nicely into this. Whether we retain this, what does this actually do now? So step over. Anyway, that's okay. For the time being, that's going to be what it looks like. And that's going to run into our intersection over here. So we'll have to see how exactly we're going to tie that in. But the intent is really that we have the roads in the right directions all the time. These things keep moving. Okay, so let's not grab that one for now. Let's just get our other boulevard road that we're trying to implement in this area. And the idea is generally that you run into approximately that direction. So this is going to be the convergence of these roads over here, and we're going to have proper intersections running through here. So in order to really get the intersection to work the way you would like it to work, it is important to make use of separated roads, and the 2-lane highways do work well for that. But potentially what we can also do is we can maybe use some of the other roads. So let's quickly have a look at if we're just going with this, for instance. So we could go with this, okay? So potentially we'll do a little something like that. I'm not too opposed to that, to be honest. Similarly, what we could do is we could do something very, very much the same over here. Okay, something like that. And then I'm gonna use that other tool again, the multi-tool, and we're gonna go with parallel. The other side, please. Tab. So it does do something funny. This tab definitely has something going for it. Tab definitely has something going on. So that's not actually working then. Unless we just do that, get it created, and we go back. Excellent, that's fine. Now we'll move out of there. We'll do a similar thing over here again. We'll just say this one to that one. Excellent. Now it's actually in the right spot. That one with 16 might be okay. So that's okay. Let's do that. So now we've got a divided road that we can do a little bit more with. And we'll see about running all of these together. Okay, so let's do that as a starting point. Now, a bit of a cool intersection idea here will be, and I'm kind of tempted to make use of this multi-tool yet again. So if we do that and we say, actually do a connection for me. What are the other things that we have here? Create loop mode, arrange at circle mode. I've no idea what that means. Create a curve mode. So what we'll just do is we'll just do, please create connection from there to there. Actually do it on this side. And we probably want to make sure that we're going to do this. Actually, that's not quite right. That's not the connection that we're after. So can we cancel that? Oh, that's the one. That's what I'm after. That's what I'm after. That's much better. So pressing escape resulted in this guy. So what I'll do is I'm going to tie that in and see how that works. Ooh, it was on the wrong side of the connection. Okay, so there are some bits and pieces that we're probably getting worried about. What I want to do is maybe I'll just upgrade these to be the same two-line stuff. Oops, that's the wrong button. So if we do that, it's the same style of road. So we'll see it. We'll hopefully get a cleaner connection through this. So let's close this. Let's try that one more time. Get the tool. Let's get the curve side in now. So if I do that, curve to there. What do you mean the wrong shape? There we go. That's the shape that I'm after. So if I do that, that does in fact create it. What I also want to do is I want to create this one to there, and that'll probably give us the intersection spot. There we go. That's the one, and that'll be anarchy. So we'll create the node over here, and then we'll have to see how we bring that guy in. So that's going to kind of be the area of the intersection, right, like this. So let's do that. Now we'll create a node there, no problems, and then we'll see about fixing the rest. So let's create a node. I think we can just do it with this tool. Ooh, how do I? Hang on, add a node. Hang on, let's just see. What does this mean? It's one of these, I think. Union nodes mode. So let's do. No, that's probably not the one. What is this? Split node mode, and this is removing a node. So let's remove that one and that one, and then I want to put a new node right in there. Some reason. What do we have here? Invert segment mode, intersect segments mode. This is the one. That is the one. There we go. Now we've got an intersection developed in this general area. And now we just need to finish off some of the work that we're doing there. So with that in mind, let's grab this tool again. Let's remove this and get away from the upgrade tool. And I'm fairly comfortable with some of this. But yeah, it does become a slightly different approach. Now the question is, do we in fact want to allow it to turn to that side? I think we do, in which case something like this will be a little bit more appropriate. And in which case we would want it to do the same thing on this side. And I'm quite comfortable to just put anarchy on and get that in place. And what we'll do is we'll flip it around. So this is going to be quite a complex one, and maybe it's not it's not exactly what we're going to do for the full extent of this episode. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. So now with that in mind, we've got a couple of nodes over here. We've got a couple of nodes over there. We may do something differently with this tie-in, but I think this is going to be pretty good. Let's just get a one-lane solution over here so that we have a fairly simple situation in this general location. So let's just get a one-lane section. One lane, one way with double parking? No. One lane, one way with no parking. That's kind of what I'm after instead. So let's just see about connecting that from there. And let's just do the straight tool, to be honest. We'll just do that connection. Ooh, that is a horrible amount there. Do we have anything better with regards to the one lane setup? Is this the one that we're after? Shall we do that one instead? See how this looks. How does this look? Not a fan, to be honest. Not a fan of the double parking either. Is that really the best we have in terms of the one lane? Unless we do this one. Which again, I'm not too sure. It's just not wide enough, is it? Yeah, so really, it seems like this is going to be the one. We're going to stick to this guy just to make sure that we've got that in place. That's the same thing over there. And now what we can do is we can start doing some tweaking with this. So there we go. That is quite a complex situation, but this will ultimately be a signalized intersection. So let's get that in place. I'm definitely going to go and do that. We may have to move these a little bit. The rest of that works really kind of well. And I think we've got appropriate sizes here. Apart from the fact that some of these nodes aren't quite allowing for good maneuvers here. I'm probably going to extend this a little bit out. So if we go and draw that one this way, draw that one that way, and we'll need to do a fair bit of tweaking with some of this. We'll draw this one up here. And this one we'll have to bring down here a little bit more. So something like that. And now we'll just have to do a fair bit of tweaking with regards to how we do this specifically. So if I'm going to try and add it on over there and split it off that way, to be honest, something like this. It's probably about right. So that kind of ties in there, and we'll have to maybe put that on a signal or something like that. Move this one out a little bit. Probably want to straighten that out a little bit, and then that's okay. So that kind of shape, I'm not too opposed to that kind of shape there. We just need to do a fair bit of work in here still. That doesn't need to go that way, so that one will only cross this way. Okay, so now let's just grab the basics over here. Let's use this tool to try and see if we can get that sorted out. Definitely, yeah, so we don't want you to go this way. That's okay. You'll go over here. Similarly, you'll move through that way. This one On the other hand, again, maybe this is only going to go straight. We're not going to go in all kinds of directions over here. That should be straighter. This one, we definitely don't want you to turn there. So it's going to be one-way movements all the time. There'll have to be some signals in place. So there we go. So the question now only is the connection from this side over here. And then how do we tie in with that if, in fact, we do tie in with that? So we could bring that one in and have it only connect over here and over there. But for the time being, maybe we could alternatively tie it in over there with an additional intersection. So it's starting to become a little bit crazy. But why you've got all of these separated, it means you've got a lot of flexibility in terms of what you actually do at the intersection with regards to markings and all these kind of things. The one thing that I just want to make sure we do is if we go with this node controller, I just want to try and do them straight as possible. Okay. Similarly, that's fine. So that's a good one. And now what we'll want to do is this one over here also. Now that's a little bit of a challenge. So we definitely want to slope that. We want to do this and we want to slope this one too. What I'm going to try and do is get that to work this way, slope that, do a similar thing over here, slope it and make sure we get the angles right. Getting the angles right is half the battle. So let's just get the angles right. I'd rather remove some of these pavement markings over here. Remove the markings over there, definitely. We'll come back and see whether we need any specific markings per se. But those markings I think is okay. Probably can go ahead and let's just remove these markings for the time being. So we just get a nicer, cleaner feel for it. Now there's a lot of nodes in here, but that's starting to look like a pretty high capacity intersection, but it will have to run a pretty good signal over here. And then ultimately we might grade separate one of these movements. So if we grade separate something like that movement or something like this movement, this intersection will be a whole lot simpler to deal with. And I'm kind of thinking maybe what we do is we just straighten some of these things up a little bit. So if we do that, that's probably a little, yeah, there we go. That seems reasonable. If we straighten this guy up a little bit like so, oh man, that's actually looking really good. If we do a bit of that, that's gonna really help us out. What I just want to make sure we do is we allow for the maneuver. So the problem with this is that little tool there, it's not going to work as well. So we'll have to just double check what we're doing with the tool, but that runs it this way. Now, I think we probably need to do an allocation over here, but let's quickly see about this one. So a bit of an unconventional intersection, but I do like doing the custom-made intersections for the movements that we require. That's really the interesting component here. So the question is, if we, so what would be more typical in this situation is to not try and tie this one in there, but to try and tie it in over here and allow it to make its maneuver the way it should. Then we'll just bring in a new section over there. So let's bring in another one of these guys. Let's just close some of these things and some of these things let's open here. And so what am I thinking? Shall I just do something like this? I think so. Let's just do a straight connection through. Is that too close maybe? Should we do it? Yeah, no, let's just do it over here. Let's just do a straight connection through there to allow that. And what we'll do is we'll twist this one a little bit to facilitate the movement in question. Okay, and so the idea is maybe these we need to go up to 3 lanes now to make that a little bit more sensible. But on this side, it's not a problem. On this side, it's probably more of a problem. So with that in mind, let's see, can we get a 3-lane option here? So if we do this one, do we have a 3-lane option? That's a 3-lane option. Let's try this as a 3-lane option and see what happens if we upgrade that one. Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. 2 lanes here is going to be no problem. I'm going to upgrade to 3 lanes on this side, and then we'll have to see what we do over here. And again, I'm going to just upgrade to 3 lanes over here, and we'll drop that down again. And that's going to be a pretty awesome setup, I think. That's starting to look pretty good. I just need to use the, let's close all of this off. Let's get the node controller again, and we'll try and just facilitate that so this guy can move across there. We'll remove those for now. I'm going to place this one. We'll get that. Oh, and we also want to make sure it's sloped. Remove those. Yeah, I think that's going to be just fine. Slope. Yeah, main slope direction manually. Anyway, that's all good. So there we go. Now we've got that movement as well. They're so narrow. These are so narrow. But anyway, that kind of is the situation. I think we're going to have to put the controllers in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this guy back. I'm going to trim that guy back. I'm going to tie these in, and I'm going to, where are we going to put this? So that one runs through there. Maybe it's more appropriate to tie it into that side. Actually bring it back a little bit and tie it in at the back here somewhere. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let's get these tied in. So for the time being, I'm going to go back to the 2-lane option. Standard 2-lane. Where's my standard 2-lane? Oh, it'll be in here. My standard 2-lane is going to go and tie in over there and tie in over that way. And we'll need to, we'll need this to go up to here. If we straighten up these sections and we just get them appropriately spaced, yeah, that should work. And now the only thing that we need to do, actually bring this a little bit closer. Yeah, there we go. And we'll, actually, you don't want it too close though. We'll do a little bit of this. We'll bring that one a little bit further away. Something like that. And we'll just move it away a tad. And then node controller will do the rest, basically. So if we then go and grab node controller. And we say, straighten that guy up for us. Look at that. That's like perfect situation right over there. I don't think we need to do much more. We can drop out those guys, the crossing markings. We'll close node controller out. We'll grab, move it, and we'll just see about straightening up some of this. There we go. I think that's pretty natural looking, to be honest. We need node controller support over here, so we'll tie this one down. So let's use node controller and see what they can interestingly do over there. So what do we want over here? This is a custom. I believe we want it to be sloped. We want to remove those markings, and we probably want to extend it a little bit so that we kind of indicate the merge a bit more appropriately with line markings. But I think that's generally what we wanted to do over here. So removing that from node controller. So that's a pretty natural looking connection. This guy will have its own lane, so that could be free flowing. This will be free flowing into there. We'll need to sort this one out. That one, let's just tie these in a little bit. Okay, so in order to do that, let's trim this one back. Okay. Okay, what am I doing? I'm after this guy. So let's run it straight over here. I'll be able to trim it back a little bit over there. And then the idea is to go with our standard 2. Get these. Ooh. Okay, so from there, please tie in directly that way. Get that one to tie in over here, and we'll do a little bit of this, and this will require a little bit more cleanup on our side. So we just move it a little bit to get that one out of the way, just a tad. We certainly want to. Oh, there's this double node in here. Let's remove this node. If I use this tool, and we'll just get rid of that node. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now let's close off that. Let's just go back to move it. That should be okay. Now it's back to node controller. Grab the node controller, get this all set up like so with the slope, and we'll give it a little bit more room there. We can see about straightening this up a little bit more. Go into node controller over here. Make sure we give it a little bit more room like so to get the merge going. 20 meters or something. Probably can do a little bit more, 25. That's all good. There we go. That's working. Okay, so let's close this. We'll move it, and we'll just try and tidy this up a little bit. It's a little bit too much here. So let's just make sure we try and tidy this up. Oh yeah, node controller will fix that. Yeah, I forgot. So once we've done that, we go back to node controller. We click that and we straighten it up, and now it's proper. It's proper. It's not perfect, but it's proper. There we go. So those are our connections over there. Look at that. Look at that intersection. It's starting to take shape nicely. I think I'll need to re-look at our intersections over here. So let's just grab ourselves a 2-lane, a standard 2-lane. Shall we go with... Yeah, shall we just go with the standard 2-lane? Let's go standard 2-lane on this side. There's so much going on here. I really need to have a look at where all of our little bits and pieces are. So that's been upgraded. Now, if I do this one, that may become a problem. It's interesting that, yeah, because this is a different style. That's why I've got that. So if I do that, oh yeah, I think that's okay. I'll just have to redo some of this stuff. So if I do that, I think that is actually quite appropriate. It'll work well with that tie-in, to be honest. It'll work well with that tie-in. Let's get ourselves back to, yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's get the node controller one more time. No, don't do that. Let's go on there. Make it a little bit bigger, like 20 meters, I think is about the right number. We'll do that. We'll clear off some of these markings. Similarly, we'll come in over here. I think those are about the right approaches there. I want to remove the markings though. I think that's going to be just fine. I don't need to do anything else over there. There we go. So that looks pretty good. We might clean up a little bit more. Markings is really the next thing for us. And maybe what we'll do is I'll leave it here for now. And in the next episode, we'll look at how we line mark this bad boy. So I think this is a good approach. We want to tie this thing. Actually, let me quickly tie this one in to where I think it needs to go. So I'm going to trim this back a fair bit more. Actually, you know what? We could connect that up through here. And then we'll have, yeah, maybe that's the plan. Instead of having, well, we probably could do with another road that runs through, because we have that one over there though. Maybe that's more appropriate. So let's trim that back. Let's close that one off. Let's get, what is this one? It's this guy. Oh no, it's not. It's that one. So let's go and extend that one up here on a pretty straight section through there. And that will allow us a maneuver into a different road that will need to tie in at some point. So let's do that, trim that back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this section. So this guy runs up to there, then you can turn to each side and then you'll be able to go back over this way, or you'll actually be able to go down that way and get in there. I think that's quite natural. We just want to make sure that we tie this guy in. So I'm going to trim that back one more, two more, and then we'll tie in that one quickly. So let's close this one off. We'll get our this tool over here. And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and create a connection from there to there on the other side, please. And on the other side here as well. And that's pretty good. Now, can we improve the radii? Well, that's actually quite a... actually, now it's gone a little far over there. So something like that, is that quite a... So it's just basically a straight line. So let's just do that. That's the straight line over there. It's the wrong... anyway, we'll fix that quickly. So it uses the last one you had going. So that's probably the issue there. So let's just make sure to upgrade so that we get the right tool for the job here. We may have to come back and just rebuild this section because I don't think this is just a straight through crossing right there. So let's just do that. I'm going to do that, and we'll just tie this one in here basically, like so, and there we go. Now we've got that as a crossing also, and over here we can tie in this road. That's just a standard two-way, isn't it? It's this guy. It's probably needing to go like this. Okay, and similarly, this guy probably needs to go in there. So if we do that, we should be able to tie. Actually, we can do it. We can try the multi-tool yet again. So let's go and trim this one back a little bit more. We'll use the multi-tool a couple more times to see what we can do with it. I'm actually starting to enjoy the multi-tool a fair bit. That's the right tool for the job. So let's do the curve here first. If we want to do a curve from there to there. There we go. That's the one. So that's a pretty easy one. Now, what we also want to do is we want to try and do a connection. So let's do a connection from here to there. On the other side, please, and on the other side. Not quite right. There we go. I think that's about the job for us. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll leave that in place like so, and we'll quickly tie in this last section. We'll just kind of run it straight into there. Close that one off for me, and we'll select it up here with a bit of a straight run actually, and we want to go page up. We don't want it underground level. There we go. So now that is the better connection. This just doesn't feel right to me. So what we'll do is I'm gonna trim that back, and what we'll do is we'll just put a curve in there. So let's retry the curve. So if I just select this one and trim it back again, just to make sure that that's the last one we've selected. Close this one off. Give me the multi-tool. Give me the curved connection. Right? Is that how we're going to do it? In there? I think that looks more natural, but that angle might be a little funny, and that might be why we're getting slightly. But that I think that looks a little bit better. It does look a little bit better. So there we go. Now we've got a different road connection through here. What the hell is this? Let's just make sure to finish that off. Come on. There we go. It was a little bridge section through there. There we go. Now that's our new road connection into the city over here. This is going to be a pretty good intersection, and it's going to last a long time, I think, before we need to grade separate. And then what we can do is we grade separate a single movement through here, and it'll still remain pretty good, to be honest. But in the next episode, I'll come back and we'll have a look at line markings over here. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you have some comments, please leave them down below. But I do love a good custom intersection. It just makes so much sense to me. But tell me in the comments what you think of our funky three-way intersection over here. And if you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.